Welcome to your weekend focus for June the 30th and July the 1st, 2018. My name is Tilly and this is Tarot with Tilly, and thank you truly for all of the positive, loving, supportive energy you send my way each and every day. Thank you truly. Now we'll turn to the cards, but I was thinking there when I paused for a second, the numerology. Okay, so the numerology of the week, we ended up with a 9 on the Thursday on the full moon, and then we went to a 1 yesterday, so the magician was around, so hopefully our Friday, so hopefully your thoughts were positive and pure and full of positive affirmation. Absolutely, we didn't want any sad thoughts that day, so I'm saying that a day late, sorry. But then it goes to a 2 today, but then when it comes to July 1st, it goes back to the 1, so the magician does appear again on Sunday for us. So I just thought how we're coming off this full moon, and this full moon is supposed to be about endings and healing and closure, our spirituality, and yet we're getting this new beginnings energy. And I think during the new moon I was getting closure and energy, so I don't know what that's all about, but let's turn to the cards and find out what the energy is around us. So maybe we're to look more towards the new beginnings. Maybe we are feeling more about starting new paths. And maybe that's where the endings come in. Maybe that's where the closure comes in. Maybe that is where the healing starts to begin in our heart and our souls, in believing in ourselves, believing we're worthy, believing that we're protected, that there is a divine plan for each and every one of us. And we need to step into that. We need to believe of our self-worth and what surrounds us. And so new paths, this is a time, this full moon, and I said it during the full moon reading, I believe, is that we really have to be determined in the changes we want to make right now. So we could be tested right now to see if we're ready for that new beginning, if we're ready for that next step. So be truthful to yourself and in your actions. The 11 energy, I kept saying that the 11 energy is like on fire right now in us needing to show our commitment. And yes, with the Justice card, the 11 card, we're holding the scales in one hand and we are holding that sword in the other. So in order to create the balance that we truly want to come into our lives, we have to make some strong decisions and we have to cut ties. Our first card, look at that, the chariot appears. The chariot appears, and so are we pulling back a little bit today? Are we weighing it out? Are we doing exactly as I said we were going to be doing before I pulled the card? Perhaps. We're trying to find the balance. Okay, we just came through a full moon. That is the sun opposing the moon, sitting across the sky from each other. And we have to find the balance. We have to find the middle ground between self and others, between work and play, maybe work and family, maybe play and family. Where are the extremes in our life? Where are we putting too much energy or too much focus, and where do we want it to be? Or where do we have very little of that we need to grow it in for complete balance? And so we have to pull tight on those reins. If you ever held those reins, you'll know that the horses are much stronger than you are. And so sometimes you have to really rear back, and then the horse gets to know you. You really communicate through love and these simple little gestures with the reins, but when those horses are trying to go any which way but the way you want them to go, you have to rear them in. You have to pull them in. You have to pull in that energy. And working together. And focusing on your path forward and how you are truly going to step into your path forward with conflicting energies around you. It might be somebody else's drama. And helping somebody out in a time of crisis is wonderful, so long as they are helping themselves at the same time, that you're not doing it all for them. Because now it's become somebody else's agendas where you're putting your focus and your time and your energy and maybe your finances. So we may be pulling it back today a little bit, or this weekend. Maybe thinking things through a little bit with the High Priestess to see the magic within, to understand our true capabilities, our true magic of what we bring to the table, of what we can create or manifest or invent or become or step into. Look at the pillars we set in between. That picture is completely balanced. This is a spiritual magic that can come in by going within, by really taking stock of what you're good at, what you're not good at, what your passions are. And if you try and teach a fish how to climb a tree, they'll never be successful. They'll always seem that they're a failure. And maybe you are trying to do something that everybody else thinks that you should do rather than what you feel you should do. And so you'll always feel like that fish climbing the tree. What are you good at? What's your magic? What's your beauty? What's deep inside? You have Jupiter in Scorpio going retrograde. I mean, if that's not going deep to the true abundance and what we want as true abundance and where we want expansion in our life. I don't think Jupiter's really talking to anything, but it came up in my head. Look at this, the Two of Cups, new partnerships, new beginnings, new starts, new opportunities. Now, this is in our struggles area, right? The conflict, the part that we probably won't be able to connect to really well. So we really have to actively seek out that new beginning, that new start, that new friendship, that new relationship. It's not magically going to come to us. We have to know that we are worthy, that we are deserving of a new beginning, a new start. Whatever your dream, whatever your hope is. This is saying that we actively have to try to step into it. That it's just not going to be pure magic. Two eyes meet across our two people's eyes meet across the room. And the sparks fly and the room illuminates and they find their happily ever after. And that kind of energy is not available to us this weekend. It is about pulling back on those reins. It's about saying, whoa. Okay, let's just stop here, look where we are, and where we want to go. And is that my focus? And what am I doing to say that that is my focus? What am I doing to say that is my dream, my desire, my want? Take stock of who you are, the beauty of who you are. Please do that. The shadow side. Well, if you go inside, you're going to see something. Oh, it might be something that you might not like about yourself, but you need to face it. Or it could be something beautiful about you that you have always pushed down and pushed down and pushed down because people said they didn't like it, or you shouldn't do that, or somebody said something once and you thought, oh, I better not do that again. I'm thinking of my youngest son, who was this contortionist. I mean, he could actually tie himself up into a pretzel. It was like uncanny. And then, you know, several years went by and I said to him as he was a young adult, I said, can you still do those things? Like put your feet behind your head? And he goes, well, no. not too much. He says, I can still kind of do it, but I really can't do it anymore. And I said, well, why not? Why'd you stop? I said, that was kind of like really cool. And he goes, well, people used to laugh, and I made me feel uncomfortable, and I didn't want people laughing at me, so I stopped doing it. And I look at these contortionists today as like adults, and I mean, man, that could have been a really cool career in some way for him, because it was just a natural gift. But he shut it off. He turned it off because somebody laughed, and it made him feel uncomfortable. And he says, if I practice, I can still, get there again. And I thought, well, practice then. That's, people pray to be limber. And he was ultra limber. But what is and maybe you couldn't ever be a contortionist, but what could you do? Another story, my daughter, we were going through some boxes because I am a true mom. And of course, everything they brought home was just a treasure as far as I was concerned. And when I took them off the fridge, I just didn't have the heart to throw them away. So they went in the box, and then the box went into the attic. And, so my daughter and I were one time cleaning out a little bit of the attic, and we're going through some of the boxes. And she grabs this picture and she holds it up and she says, Mom. And I said, what? And she says, I remember when I brought this picture home. And she might have been kindergarten or grade 1. And she says, you made such a fuss over it. You said it was the most beautiful picture you had ever seen. You hung it on the fridge, and it stayed there for like ever, and everybody saw it. And I go, uh-huh. And she goes, Mom, this is ugly. This is like pathetic. And I said, mm-hmm. But would you have ever been an artist if I would have told you? It was the best you could do at the time. And so I encouraged you to do even better by just telling you just how gifted you were. And to this day, she paints. She writes poetry. She's just a beautiful, beautiful soul in so many ways. We won't even go there because I'll be here for way too long bragging. But what if I was one of those parents that just kind of looked and went, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, okay. And they saw it in the garbage a few days later. Would they be the artist? Would you be the artist? Where can you create? Where can you invent? What is that secret part of you? And maybe you're not even aware of it. And I tell you, this weekend you can go inside and you can see magic within you that maybe you have overlooked before. Or maybe you just stepped to the other side of fear. And what shows up once you step past the fear? Step into the unknown. Try it again for the first time in forever. Or try it for the first time. If you were always that kid who was told to be quiet, the adults are talking, be quiet. Maybe you are the next best public speaker out there, but you've never tried it because everybody always told you to be quiet. Maybe it's time to use your voice. Where do you hold yourself back? Knight of Wands. Now, I believe he was the first card on Friday, and here he is as the last card at the end of the weekend. So whatever we were feeling on Friday, we're doing it come Sunday. We're feeling strong. We're feeling a vitality flow through us. We are seeing what we can do. We're seeing what we can become. We are seeing the path forward, and we are galloping towards it. So we are starting to do those things that matter, where our focus needs to be. Let's get an affirmation card or two. It is the weekend. And our first card is transformation. 13, transformation. So many people fear that number 13. 13s are hard energy, but the magic that can come out of the 13 is unbelievable. Transformation and change. Nothing remains the same. Nothing. And I need to accept that life evolves through cycles of birth, death, and rebirth. Now is a time of transition. As things are changing from one form to another, I need to allow this to happen for my highest good. I am called to let go of the old so I can welcome in the new. And that really is full moon kind of energy. We need to let go of the old. I mean, some of the things you can close doors on is a lack of self-worth. I'm no longer going to feel like I am not worthy. Close the door on it. That was yesterday. Now I know. I believe in what can come to me. Because I'm beautiful, because I'm special, because I'm courageous, because I'm me. I need to allow this to happen. So go with the flow this weekend. See what comes your way. See what's trying to transform you. Maybe it's a thought. I would think more than anything else, it's a thought. That's through a conversation seemingly with yourself or through prayer or meditation. Seven of Fire. The unicorn is back again. Seven of Fire appears. The Eight of Fire. The Seven of Fire. Personal best, going the distance. Perseverance. Nonconformity. I'm unstoppable. My passion pushes obstacles aside as I engage in sustained effort. I know how to bend, but I don't compromise on what's most important to me. And is that not the chariot energy? Of not getting caught up in other people's drama? In bringing those forces together and putting the focus on you and your path forward? If others aren't happy with the course I am on, I don't have to let their concerns affect me. I release the temptation to resist challenges, and I trust that I can make things happen as I live life on my own terms. Inspired solutions present themselves. So as we step forward, and I think throughout January and February and even maybe in March, I was saying, I think it's the step forward that's the hardest. Because inspired solutions will present themselves as you start to live life on your own terms. One more. The Hermit. Strong energy this weekend. And the Hermit, number 9. The Hermit is asking us to go within. Sometimes it's necessary to take a time out for regrouping and introspection. This is a temporary experience, but one necessary for my growth. When I step back, retreat, regroup, and renew, I have a clear perspective on everything in my life. So we need to be a little bit of the hermit. We need to look within. We need to allow our thoughts and roam in our thoughts and our ideas and our passions and what we want. Let's get an animal card here. And see what they have to tell us. Weird little cut. Look at that. Balance. The moose comes in for balance. The moose. Release, balance, recalibrate, and dignity. I am only one, but I am still one. I cannot do everything, but I can do something. And because I cannot do everything, I will not refuse to do the something that I can do. Moose tells you it's time to realign your purpose. By looking within and noting what you are doing outwardly, you will begin to see where you need to recalibrate your life. I love the way everything comes together. Huh? Balance is key to enjoying your life, but many times it is lacking. You may feel as if you are on a teeter-totter. Sometimes your moods are way up and sometimes they're way down. And I think we've all been on that teeter-totter over the last several weeks, if not years. Don't allow a brief moment in time to destroy your balance. Moose walks with dignity. It is time for you to hold your head up high. It's time for you to hold your head up high and stand tall. Until we meet again, remember, I do love you.